The same way a boss's or a manager's authority can be unreliable, a parent's can be too. And people get mad. People get so mad when they see that a teenager does not take their parents seriously, but little do they know. If you learned about ethos in school, pathos, ethos, logos, specifically the ethos, you know that authority has everything to do with trust and reputation. And that's where all of this comes into play. Even with parents, they're not exempt of that. And you're not going to put your trust and your ideas blindly into something, someone, someplace, and follow their rules blindly if they haven't displayed any sort of trusted authority. It depends on the qualifications. For authority for one person, it might be a degree. For authority for another person, a certain certification. Authority for another person, how many years they worked. Authority for another person, what's their position. Maybe you won't accept suggestions or advice from a person who has never been in that thing or never had that thing. For example, you won't accept older sibling advice from a person who doesn't have siblings. You won't accept parenting advice from a person who doesn't have kids. You know, what are their qualifications? What experience do they have? Do they stay updated with the times? Because the thing is, a good reputation has to be built and maintained. Yes, even with parents. And by everything I just said, you may have been able to tell that I'm very objective with this. Very objective. And I basically have to be. Because a lot of people are going to hear this. When certain matters have to do with the family, they're just like, whatever. They're related. But take out the fact that you're related. Take out the fact that you're family. Take out the fact that you have lived with each other for decades. Take out the fact that they're decades older than you, because that's another thing too. People can automatically have this entitlement of, I get to tell you what to do just because they're older than you, but that is not true. Some people get to think about the fact that they're younger and they can automatically make mistakes, and that's going to be valid, and that's not true. So take out all of that. Take out the fact that you're blood related to really see this objectively. And sometimes shifting to the mentality that you're people and not parents, you're regular people and you're not siblings, you're not related, is gonna be the only way that you get a true, real perspective. And this video is gonna be an eye-opener for you if you do. So the definition of authority, let me actually look it up right now. AUT. Authority, according to Oxford Languages, is the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. A person or organization having the power to control in a particular, especially political or administrative sphere. Now, translating that to what I'm talking about in parents and kids, parents, children, family dynamic, is their power when making decisions for me, giving me advice, and telling me what to do. It changes a little bit there. Well, it's the same thing, but changed a tiny bit. So the question is, what does it take from a child to go from trusting their parents' every word to being 18, 19, 20 and not respecting their ideas and authority anymore? Because there's a change in that. And these are the things that did for me, but there are other things too. Since graduating high school, there have been so many decisions that they made for me that I have gotten pretty upset at, because I didn't agree with them and I knew that they weren't right for me. One example of something that makes a kid lose respect for their parents' authority is the fact that their parents don't stay true to their plans. Anything with a base, a core of lying is going to make you lose respect for someone in general, and especially lose respect for their authority. If you say that you're going to do something and you don't do it, you say you're going to change something and you don't do it, not only for yourself, but also for other people, also for your family, it's hard to keep respecting your authority because things can easily change. Let's say you give me an order for something, you make a decision for me, and you just last minute undo it, which they have before. That's one thing. My parents also criticize everything and everyone, see everything as bad. And that's the thing, that if your kid trusts you at one point with your ability to discern and your ability to see bad, have a certain idea of things and analyze things, but they start to notice that you only ever see things as bad, see things as bad, see things as bad. They're gonna start questioning, are the things that you say are bad really bad? Because you're saying this for everything. For me, I've heard my parents say so many bad things about things that they don't even know about. So why are you able to make such a detailed description and negative about this person, place, or thing, and you have been around it once? So they talk bad about everything, have always something negative to say. It starts to make you question things. And questioning is the complete opposite of trusting someone's authority. Similarly to that, me learning that what they say has been based on assumption the whole time. There are certain ideas that your parents may have, and you think that they're so true. They have so much of a foundation, such a valid base behind them. And then in your teenage years, in your adult years, you realize that was an assumption the whole time. Because either I realize that that thing is not true and has never been true, or I get told that, or I actually go ahead and do my own research and I realize that was not the way that it was the whole time. Let me see if I can think of an example. Oh, again, when I started ninth grade, I was 14. I had to start taking the train to school, and I had to be around people. I had to be in public transportation. I got comfortable with it, and their assumptions and stereotypes for the people on the street were proven to be not true all the time. Every single day. They always said super duper bad things about people on the street, about everything in general, and I realized there's no reason to be that abnormally, paranoidally scared about somebody just because they have a sweatpants and a do-rag. There's no reason to be scared of someone just because they have cornrows and Nike shoes or Jordans. And there are times that an assumption maybe it was an assumption, but it was true at one time, and that leads me into my next point, that my parents do not update what they think with the times. And that's really scary. For something to not update with times, it's not going to be reliable. You're always going to choose a website that stays updated over one that doesn't stay updated or updates super slowly, not as frequently. There are so many times where they just keep thinking that something is a certain price. They keep thinking that a certain thing doesn't have a certain solution. And there has been a one in recent years. There has been a price drop in recent years, but they just refuse to see it. They refuse to do research. They just refuse to hear about it at all. So someone who doesn't want to receive information, how are you as a child going to continue to rely on their judgment? How are you as a child going to continue to respect their authority? My parents have also said a lot of things that have been proven to be false. Not only because they just assumed it and just randomly thought about it and went with it, but also just they'll believe something that just sounds true from someone. My parents are also, for some reason, just immune to giving reasoning when they tell me to do something or they've decided something for me or anything of that sort. And that just goes to show, if you cannot explain your decision, if you cannot show how confident you are about your decision or why you did something or why you feel a certain way or think a certain way to your kid, because you cannot explain it, and it's just the because I said so, stop asking and getting super mad, is that a person that a daughter or a son can really trust with future things? Is that someone you can really whose authority you can respect? Because someone should easily be able to explain something. Even if a child is too small, simplify it for your child. And if your child is old enough to understand, why are you not explaining it to them? And that then leads you to think this is just this person's opinion and they just want to use their parent ego to make it seem like if I don't do it, then I'm gonna be the worst person in the world. Because parent ego, they use their status as a parent to guilt trip you into doing something that is so real. There have been times that I wanted to switch something up at home. I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to even purchase something. My mom is like, no. And it's just no, and that's it. No explanation, no nothing. And that also can make you feel so disrespected or invisible, because why am I not worthy of you explaining something? It kind of gives off a powerful type of play on their part and makes you feel so small. And then again with the lying, they say things are going to happen and then they don't. Whether they're in control of that thing and say, oh, we're going to go here, and then it ends up not happening. Or something that they planned on changing and then it ends up not changing. But simple things, even when I was younger, just talking without actually having any intention behind what they say is something that they've been doing and they still do today. It's really disappointing, even though you're a kid and you grow out of it, it's disappointing to hear that next Sunday we're going to go to Target and it doesn't happen. Well, you know what, next Sunday and it doesn't happen. You know what, next Sunday and it doesn't happen. That can start mistrust. It can be gained back, but combined with everything else, maybe not. This next one is big in this house. Inconsistencies and picking and choosing who gets to follow the rules. I have countless amounts of examples of this. They have a lot to do with the cleaning, a lot to do with who gets to do what by themselves. Parents and kids are never going to be on the same level. Understood. But if you're constantly holding yourself to the opposite standard to them, when not only you should be a role model, but it shows inconsistency, that's not that great to be reliable. For example, when I ask them for something last minute, I'm being irresponsible and I could have done it before. When they all of a sudden want to add something to my schedule and ask me something last minute and I get upset, I need to be helpful. I need to stop being like that. All this type of stuff when they would never, when it's them, it's super valid. It's perfectly fine. Oh, but then, so there, it's fine when they do things. It's not fine when I do things. And it's the inconsistency that really adds up. I'll also be the one that gets in trouble countless amounts of times for not cleaning things, really not cleaning other people's messes and being a maid to other people's messes, because there's a difference of the types of messes. But my brother and my dad get to make messes perfectly fine and not clean up after themselves nearly as much as I'm forced to. So that type of double standard and inconsistency between house members makes you think, if you're this inconsistent and you can't even have a good role model, how am I supposed to respect your authority? You're all over the place. So yeah, those are a couple of the things that I have to live with and reasons why I don't necessarily respect my parents' authority. Of course, I live here right now. I have to mask and listen for now, even when I really don't want to, and it's absolutely not fair. But in my mind, I have started to reject them a very long time ago, and I have it clear that my respect for them is super down on the scale. Can't really decide right now, but I think that one of the worst reasons is the lying. Anything that has to do with lying. Lying creates doubt in anybody for anything. It doesn't matter how amazing that person is or was. You comment below which one of these reasons is the absolute worst that somebody can make their kids lose respect for them, that can cause somebody to make their kids lose respect for them. And that was my couple of cents for today's video. You'll hear me in the next one.